There has been something peculiar that has taken place in the morning today. There have been a number of political parties, particularly from the opposition side, and certain journalists who received this cryptic message from Apple on their iPhones. Now, this cryptic message goes on to say that a notification mentioning that their phones have been attacked, their phones have been hacked and snooped by quote-unquote state-sponsored attackers. Now, while there is a flurry of statements, Twitters and other social media accounts that have been activated by these leaders, by these politicians and journalists, there is another statement in terms of a clarification that comes from Apple, saying that these alerts that have been provided as notifications on these iPhones of these 15 to 20 of the individuals might just be false. Now, what I'm trying to understand over here is, what is it that Apple has tried to achieve from doing so? If Apple is not sure itself as to whether this is a hoax or it is actually a legitimate, authentic information and alert that it has given to these individuals. Mind you, there are 150 countries where these iPhone alerts have been issued. At this point of time, no indication has been given by Apple whether these alerts and notifications were sent out to the set of individuals that they were sent out to simultaneously or at a deferred period of time. So, while I take a look at this very serious charge that has been made by Apple, there is also a question being raised about the authenticity, about the credibility of these messages that have been put out. Starting my conversation with Gautam Mukherjee. Gautam, do you find this surprising and also a bit perplexing that on one hand, iPhones get these notifications talking about quote-unquote government-funded attackers hacking people's phones, and parallelly a statement being released that we are not too sure these could be false notifications? What is Apple trying to do?
The hacking sounds very sort of Chinese. Over here, for just a few opposition politicians to be targeted, it could be a way to sow doubt in terms of the recent increase in manufacture of Apple phones over here and the intended ramping up with various other vendors also getting involved. Chinese are good at hacking. This is a lame kind of message that is neither accepted nor denied. And you talk of government intervention, I doubt it's anything to do with the Indian government, because most of the people who have been targeted are really fairly minor politicians without much policy sway. So why is this being done at all is the question. I think it is a way to try and disrupt the Indian market for iPhones and the Indian manufacture of iPhones.
Okay.
Megha.
Okay. I have with me Mayurakshi Das also. She is an AI tech expert. Now, Mayurakshi, what is the probability of Apple software itself being hacked to send out these messages, as Gautam Mukherjee at this point of time speculating that there could be a Chinese hand to disrupt the current situation in our country in wake of the elections that are coming in? Sumitra Goenka, would you like to take this question?
Yeah, hi Megha. See, I do agree with Mr. Gautam Mukherjee here. We have to understand that Apple had till now the largest manufacturing center in China. and the original equipment manufacturer here is Apple, and most of the equipments which we have used are Chinese. And when we were using, when Huawei was also coming into India, there were concerns about the equipment itself, about is it transmitting some kind of data, is it hackable, is it a listening device. There were many concerns which were raised that time. I think it needs a further investigation. It is not a small matter. So let me first assume that if this is true, then all these people who have got these messages should hand over their phones to CERT and let a proper investigation happen. Secondly, if this is just a phishing attack or some cyber security is breached, or if the Apple's internal security system is breached, because see, here the problem is it is a specific targeted attack which has come to a specific few people. These are especially those politicians who make more noise than actually doing some kind of work. So is it a specific targeted attack to destabilize the democracy of India? So that needs to be really checked out.
Okay.
So it is not not a simple thing. We need more investigations here, and I hope everybody cooperates here to get this in.
Tariq Khan also on the telecast with me now. Tariq, how do you view this situation, keeping in mind Apple itself has come out with a statement saying that these messages and these alerts could be fake, and do you think Apple also needs to come clean? And if there is a hacking attempt that has been made in Apple internal systems as well by these external forces that at this point of time are non-conducive to the sovereignty and the democracy of our country, perhaps Apple needs to also come out clean and say that they are not aware. A probe has to be initiated as to what led to these messages and alerts being sent not to these 15-20 individuals in India, but also across the globe. 150 countries and certain individuals from these countries have received these messages.
Now, what few question which has arises by this what happened yesterday. One is that name anyone from the government or the party which are ruling who received this message. You have any name? Why people from the opposition just have received this message? If this message is being delivered across the spectrum or to many people, why no one from the ruling government have received this type of message? Point number one. Point number two, what the message says that state sponsored attackers. This is a very clear, and try to understand which type of language this message has used. State sponsored attackers. It's sponsored by the state.
Fair enough.
And they are attackers also.
But Tariq, I like to read these two messages that have been released, one after the other by Apple. Now it says, first message, the alert that has come on the phones, on the iPhones of these individuals is, Apple believes you are being targeted by state-sponsored attackers who are trying to remotely compromise the iPhone associated with your Apple ID. Then after a few hours, Apple has now released a statement saying it is possible that some Apple threat notifications may be false alarms, or that some attacks are not detected. Now is this a way for Apple to backtrack and then talk about, listen, we don't really know. This is a complex way of weaving a story to come. There is no apology directly that has been put out, and they are not even confirming whether their internal systems have been hacked, perhaps because it's an embarrassing, humiliating situation to be in.
No. Who are responsible, or who are in a condition to ask something to Apple? We, the opposition people, or the government? Who will ask Apple that please clarify what this message exactly means? Now answer this question. Anybody should answer that government, the ruling government of any country. I'm not talking about just India. Of any country is in the capacity to ask Apple that what is this? Why some people have received these type of message and they have involved government as well. Now who are going to ask? Why this question is being asked to us? The same question must be asked
I asked this question because a number of the opposition party individuals who've gotten this message, including the Samajwadi Party chief. Now they are going about accusing the government of India of a snoopgate, of going about hacking their phones, snooping their phones, because they want to create this buzz. They want to find out what are the loopholes that they can then utilize ahead of elections and so on and so forth. Wouldn't it be responsible for political parties and these individuals to act in a mature, responsible fashion, to then not question the government of India but actually pose questions to Apple?
No, why all the time this type of question is being asked that we should act responsibly? Why the opposition should act all the time responsibly? There is no responsibility of the government?
Well, the government has initiated a probe. Government has initiated a probe. There is a union minister for IT who has now released a statement as well. So it will take time. It will take time to get onto the root of this hackgate that we are calling it, the scandal that has now erupted. Whether it is because of the irresponsibility of Apple, whether there has been a hacking job that has been done by an external force, could it be a possibility that China is utilizing all its surveillance, all its espionage to then wreak havoc ahead of the elections?
Let me say something. It's rubbish to say all the things that anything happens, two countries have involvement. One is China and another is Pakistan. Two countries have involvement in any type of things happen, which is not okay. That's not good. It's not good. China is not responsible. I also want to respond that how could this going to affect the market of the Apple? How could? Means somebody is saying that this type of thing has been done to just defame Apple because they have a good market share in India. How is this going to happen?
So that's
competition,
what you're trying to ascertain what is the root cause of this crisis that has been created artificially. Quickly getting a response from Mayurakshi Das. Mayurakshi, on the surface of things, how do you perceive this massive allegation that at this point of time has been made with the Apple alerts that have been issued?
Thank you, Megha. If you will allow me, I'd like to take a bit of a holistic approach here. Two things. We've just announced that the Tatas are going to manufacture Apple for a global market. So you can imagine the platform and the opportunity that we are standing on. And the second is, all the FDI and multinationals who are coming into India. Now, with news like this, I think it is improper to politicize this. It really doesn't matter if it's the opposition, if it's another country, whether it's the standing government, Indian government, but news like this will hurt us in many, many ways than one, with a huge impact over the growth percentage for the next few years. And I think it is all in our best interest to get to the bottom of this news as soon as possible and really prove that it was maybe sabotage, by somebody with no interest in the growth of India. Also, it doesn't, I think, in my opinion, really matter whether it's Mr. Shashi Tharoor or other dignitaries who have been affected with this hack. Each and every citizen of India and every country, it's almost a birthright now to have data security, private security. So I think it's an infringement into, I am worried as of today if this news is really true. So it doesn't, let's not politicize this, let's not make this about dignitaries, but the right of every person in this country.
Okay. Okay. Gautam, then quickly coming to you. Again, like I say, it's a very serious charge. It is going about saying that the government of one country, and in this regard, India, is sponsoring these attacks on the phones in a bid to compromise your data, in a bid to snoop on your activities, in a bid to hack your data. Now, important point to be noted is that such messages and alerts have gone out to individuals located in 150 countries. Now it's not India, the government of India, that has been targeted. Now, who is going to benefit by tarnishing the image of these 150 countries? We still are yet to receive the list of the countries where these messages have been circulated.
Well, it is a sort of a nonsensical but loaded cyber attack. We know that China maintains a very large cyber warfare department, and as the previous panelist also pointed out, we are on the brink of manufacturing very many more of these phones for international consumption. When Apple was first manufactured here, there was a canard put out about how they are overheating. That didn't fly for too long. And now you've got this coming. In the context of elections, you are also trying to suggest that the opposition is being targeted. But, the people that have been picked are fairly minor operatives in their parties. And so all of it is an attempt to float a fresh fire. This has been going on for the last many months and will do so all the way up to the general elections of 2024. This month, of course, you've got a number of assembly elections in November. And so all of this is an attempt to see if, you can light a fire, but will it turn into a conflagration or will it die down? Unfortunately, most of these Soros opposition, Islamic, Chinese combined attempts have faltered and faded. So they have to keep inventing new issues and new methods and new controversies. And this seems to be the latest in the series.
Okay.
And this one is particularly lame because it announces that you've been hacked, and it also says, oh no, probably it's wrong.
Yeah.
Which
So
is,
these are two very contradictory statements.
You start.
Again, maybe an attempt by Apple to, cover its tracks, talking about, oh my God, what a fiasco that has happened. Now, how it's happened, whether it is the Chinese hacking companies or state-sponsored cyber warfare attempt on Apple, we don't know. Again, Mayurakshi,
Yes.
hinted upon because Chadha is now going to be manufacturing iPhones not just domestically for domestic consumption, but also worldwide, where it would be exporting Apple products. Is China at this point of time worried for the Apple companies' manufacturing plants shutting down in its territories? Okay, fair enough. Okay, Sumitra, then quickly getting a response from you about how do we, there is an investigation that has been now initiated by the government of India. There has been a union minister of IT electronics has come out and made a statement saying there is going to be thorough probe that is going to be initiated into it. We have seen precedents when it comes to Cambridge Analytica or when it comes to Pegasus, and we have ample proof in how these cyber warfare tactics were utilized to again cause discord, try to denigrate the democracy, try to denigrate the government of India, and these attempts until now have been very strongly dissuaded and fought against.
Yeah, so Megha, I want to highlight one thing, that technology, in the technology field, there are no friendly countries. We have to remember this. Secondly, all these technology companies, whether they are owned by China or, whether they are owned by US or countries in Europe, everybody runs for big profits. And we have seen how in the US election also technology was used to influence a lot of things. And what my fear is, like you highlighted violated Cambridge Analytica. We have seen how Twitter was also used, and Twitter was stopping certain president from tweeting during election time. So there are issues in technology, and I don't know whether this is an attack on our democratic process or not. This needs investigation. Our laws need to be made more stricter, because we still do not have proper IT laws where we can question these people, question the authorities. Right now, if you go and ask Apple, they will say, it's a matter of policy. We cannot disclose these things, and our policy head sits in US, and it will become a huge dependency on that person flying back to India and coming and presenting themselves in front of the parliament or any other body. So we need to have proper laws, and through your channel, I would request the government of India to actually frame these laws, because IT laws are quite old as of now, and we need amendments here. We need more accountability and responsibility. Having said that, this matter needs a thorough investigation. You cannot just hit a stone and run away saying that it is a false thing or it is a true thing, and then keep the entire public guessing. And this is not only MPs who are affected, there are other people also, and common users also will start thinking twice before going and loading their data or using an Apple iPhone henceforth. So we need more investigations here to safeguard the citizens of this country.
Mayurakshi, talking about how these IT hacks, snoopgates that are utilized not just in India. There have been charges that have been levied by political parties in United States of America, elections in Europe, Canada, Australia. It has happened in the past as well. The big conglomerates like of Facebook and Amazon, they have been dragged into the courts. There have been charges against them, cases that are then at this point of time being heard, but they have still not been able to clamp down on a number of matters that are of jurisprudence, a number of matters that need to be looked into, simply because there have been loopholes that have been found in the IT laws. As Sumitra said, our IT laws need to be more stringent, more strong. And looking at the past, there had been these cases where summons had been sent to companies, the big tech companies like Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, and there was a kind of opposition and kind of strife that was being witnessed between the government of India and all these big tech companies. Now, a situation may arise with Apple as well, as the investigation by the government of India is then going to take a speedy action over there.
Absolutely. I think the government is definitely going to act on it. If you ask me, India has done incredibly well on data security. Every other large bank, World Bank, has centers of excellence in India, and we haven't heard of a major data breach as of now currently. With the upcoming elections in 2024, I think if there are any parties who really would like to put a dent or use data security to its fullest, it would be something that would affect the election data, etc., where a huge amount of data analytics and AI is going into use here. So I think the government is definitely going to clamp down on this. However, I continue to say I think we are politicizing this. As of right now, I would be more concerned if this email went from not to the bureaucrats that we spoke about, but this email was received by, say, a top banker of the world who has brought his institution to India and is running a massive captive here. Somebody like that, I think, can cause a true dent into the economy, and there are lakhs of us who are employed with the top banks, and any one news of a data security can just spiral downwards in terms of employment, in terms of FDI going out of India, and God knows what else. So I think
I don't know. There could be chances of the stock market crashing, so that manipulation could happen. You're at this point in time denigrating, putting out, maligning the government of India. That's one very serious charge, and then bringing about the country and its economy to a standstill, or an attempt in this regard being made. So quickly, Tariq Khan, while there are political parties and their leaders and individuals and the politicians and the members of the parliament who have received this message, they are utilizing this. Obviously, this is a low-hanging fruit. You will like to use this as a fodder to attack the government of India. A Sena, well thought out response and statements by the leaders, by the politicians, would be to wait and watch, to allow for probe agencies to do their work.
Now, I'm quite happy that somebody is not saying that all these things is being organized by the opposition itself. I'm happy with that only. People are not saying that this is self-organized or a type of cell goal, or we have done everything.
Yeah, I'm saying this is at this point of time, at this juncture, the time to be responsible, the time to be mature, and not a time to throw allegations and counter allegations at each other.
No, ma'am, let me explain. Yeah. The allegation is quite clear. Government is targeting few people from the opposition, and they are targeting across the spectrum everywhere. And targeting on the basis of data is just one of them. This allegation is not a new one. We have been saying this since long time, that government have put under scrutiny to few people, and the person who received this message is just not a small person. They are very responsible.
Okay, all right. So you continue to have your stance that it is the government of India that is actually hacking and snooping on these individuals who have been receiving these messages. All right, I'm out of time. We'll continue to track this story. It's a very interesting one. It is going to take a few days, weeks, months for the investigations to then complete. Questions need to be answered by Apple and their CEO as to what goes behind their internal operating systems. Are they safe enough to fight out the hacking warfare that the world fears from certain organizations, certain countries, which is detrimental to the democracies of the countries and the world at large.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.